Well, now it's time for a story about wisdom. One day, a man was walking through the woods, and out of the corner of his eye, he saw something move. Well, he looked closer, and it was brown. It was about this big. It was covered with feathers, and as he leaned down to look, "Caw, caw!" Well, he jumped back behind a tree, and he looked and saw it was an owl, a great horned owl. It had two tufts of feathers on top of its head, beautiful brown feathers all over his body. It had big yellow eyes. It had a very sharp beak, but there was something wrong. He looked closer, and it looked like the owl was stuck. Its head was stuck to its wing, and it couldn't move. Well, the man came a little closer and realized that's why the bird was on the ground, and that's why the bird couldn't fly away. And as he looked, he realized that owl must have been going for what the owl thought was a fish. But instead of catching a fish, it was a shiny lure with two hooks on it. One hook went in the bird's mouth, and the other one caught its wing, and that's why it fell to the ground. Well, that young owl was in pretty bad shape. Who knows how long it had been since it had food or water? So the man ran back home as fast as he could. He got some leather gloves, he got a fishing net, he got a big thick blanket, he got a cardboard box, and he also got a friend to come help him. They ran back into the woods, and on the count of 3, they threw the net over the owl, covered it with the blanket, and then carefully lifted it back into the box. Then they took it to the closest animal hospital. Well, when they got there, the veterinarian checked out the bird, and sure enough, it was in pretty bad shape. And very carefully, with some pliers, he pulled the hooks out of the bird's mouth and out of the bird's wing. Well, it would take a whole nother month for that owl to recover. And it's a really good thing that somebody found that owl. You know, some mistakes are not that easy to fix. That young owl did not make a good choice. And you know, sometimes in our lives, we don't make the best choices either. We need to learn from those mistakes. But you know, if an owl was going to make a good choice, there are some ways that an owl learns that we can also learn from. And that's what I'd really like to show you. You see, when owls make choices, they have to listen. And they have some very interesting ears. See, the owl's ears are not those little tufts of feathers on top of their head. No, the owl's ears are on the sides of its head, like yours. But unlike your ears, one ear is up high and one ear is down low. Now, that looks a little silly with one up high and one down low, but that gives the owl the special ability to hear in 3 dimensions, up and down, left and right, and the depth of distance. See, the owls have special ears that help it to listen very closely. Now, did that lure really sound like a fish? Well, I don't know. But I don't think that young owl was going to make the same mistake twice. And you know, we need to listen closely too, to our teachers and parents, our coaches, people who care about us, so that we can make the right decision and not get tricked or trapped by some shiny lure like that owl. So not only do owls listen closely, but they also look carefully. Owls have very good eyesight, and it's because they have very big eyes. And their eyes are so big that they can't turn their eyes. That's why they have to turn their heads. And you know how owls will turn their heads around in order to see everything that's going on. They can go almost in a whole circle trying to see what's happening. Now, I don't know if that lure really looked like a fish, but I guarantee you that owl, the next time it goes out fishing, is going to be more careful and look more closely. You know, that's what a wise person has to do, to look at all the facts, to get all the information you can so you can make a good decision. And if you make a mistake, you try not to make that mistake again. So we need to listen to get good instructions. We need to look around to get all the facts. But there's something else that we need to do. You see, an owl has to be very careful about what it puts into its mouth. See, owls have to swallow their food completely whole. So they have to tear it up in pieces in order to get down into their stomachs. Now, owls have to be careful what goes in their mouths. And you know, you and I should be careful what goes into our mouths too. What we eat, what we drink, what we breathe can really affect us. But it's not just what goes in our mouths, it's also what comes out of our mouths. You see, a wise person has to be careful and guard your mouth and not say things that'll hurt others. So you don't put things in your mouth that will hurt you, and you don't let things out of your mouth that will hurt other people. Think about what you say before you say it, and that is showing wisdom. The owl can teach us a lot about wisdom. What we listen to, what we look at, what we do, so that we can make good choices.